All right. Good morning or afternoon, whenever you're watching this. It is September 22nd, the first day of autumn on the calendar. Figured I'd do a recorded video of the spot report. We'll look at the 1, 2, 3 low board, and we'll even take a glance at that, see what's going on. Um, so let's get to it. Hope you're all doing well, and let's share the screen here. There it is. There it is. All right, let's shrink that down. All right, so this is the load availability density map. That's what I like to look at the most. This is for all trailers. As you can see, green is good on this particular map. Yellow is okay. Red is probably not so good. So what happens is, if you go to one of these states here that are of that color, you will find that you're going to make a lot more phone calls if you're not booked ahead. So booking ahead is critical right now. Like right now, out of the 2 trucks I'm dispatching this week, one's booked until Monday and one is booked until Sunday. And before this week is out, I will have their next loads booked. That's just how it is in this market right now. There's still money to be made in this market, but you just got to be smart. You got to be efficient. You got to take care of your clock, and you've got to take care of your truck, and put yourself in a situation where you don't have to make 20 phone calls every time you have to book a load, because that can be kind of frustrating. So let's go to trailer type here. We've got let's do reefer first. There's the states you want to be in for reefer. Before you get there, check your volumes. So like let's say you're in Minnesota and you see a load going to Tennessee. Well, look at the volumes coming out of Tennessee before you book that load. Now, I know it's difficult at times when loads are flying off the shelf and they're gone before you can even call on them. And that's where booking ahead is really important, because what you'll do is give yourself some time. So like right now I can look at loads picking up tomorrow. So here's what I did when I booked these trucks that are good for the weekend is I looked at the volumes prior to booking those loads. So in other words, if you're looking at Tennessee, look at volumes coming out of Tennessee. If you're pretty confident you can get something out of there, then book that load to Tennessee. However, if you are not confident, try to find that load out of Tennessee. So if you're working with the broker that that you've used before, tell them, hey, I'm looking at your load going from Minneapolis to, say, Nashville. Can you hold that for me? You negotiate that one. Say, can you hold that for me? I need to see if I can get a reload out of there. And a lot of times brokers might do that. The other thing you can do is you can call, let's say you call a new broker that you've never used, and you go, hey, I'm looking at your load coming out of Minneapolis going to Nashville, Tennessee. Well, yeah, we got it, blah, blah, blah. And you negotiate a rate. It's like, hey, by the way, do you have anything coming out of there that I can do? What do you got coming out of there? And sometimes you could string 2 or 3 or 4 loads like that together. And that's a great strategy. The less phone calls you're making on the volatile spot market low boards, the better, in my opinion. And people believe that you leave money on the table if you book too far ahead, and to some degree they're correct, but for the most part, I it just depends on the market. So I've discussed it a few times where you might get lucky and get that one load that some truck fell off at the last minute, and that broker's desperate. But right now, brokers aren't desperate to move loads for the most part. Excuse me. Still dealing with post-COVID effects and allergies. So this is reefer. As you can see, California, Texas, that's a lot of produce that's hit the market. This area tends to be processed, frozen food and meat. And then you got some candy going on out of the Northeast. And I believe there's some coming out of St. Louis area. And then you got Mars there out of Waco. So let's look at oh, and the other thing I'll add with reefer is that not it's not always food. It could be pharmaceuticals. If you can do refrigerated pharmaceuticals, if you can find that freight, that's usually great paying freight. But also like plastic. There are packaging things that they want kept at like 65 degrees or 70 degrees. So there's those opportunities as well. It's not just food. So let's look at flatbed and add step deck in there. This is that market. So you got something going on up here in the Northwest. You got Idaho. Now a lot of onions can move on flatbed. Hay can move on flatbed. In my opinion, that's the only way to move hay. A lot of lumber going on coming from the ships. I have noticed that flatbed rates and volumes are going down a little bit, so just be aware of that. So this is the flatbed market right here, flatbed and step deck. And so now we'll switch this to van. And again, you can get these tools on the 123 low board using my code 48065. I do use this low board every day. All right, this is van. A lot more red and yellow in this. West Virginia is always red. So if you go to West Virginia, make sure it's around an area where you can get to Ohio or Virginia. That's probably where you're going to deadhead to come out if you take a load into West Virginia or Kentucky. I've noticed rates are a little bit lower coming out of Kentucky and Tennessee here lately. And I noticed that they're still not paying to go into Texas. I'm seeing loads for $1.80 a mile going into Texas, and then when you look at Texas, they're going for $1.80 out. So, these are the things that you've got to take into consideration. But this is van. As you can see, the same states tend to stay green. That's because that's where a lot of our industry is. That's where a lot of manufacturing is. It's also where a lot of retail, distribution centers are. So just keep that in mind. So we'll look at the DAT real quick. This is load volumes in and out for van. And the dark blue, the bigger the dark blue, the better the state. But you also got to look at the overall numbers. Like Connecticut here, you've got 142 going in and 159 coming out. Florida, you got 1407 coming in and 485 coming out. So that's actually not bad for Florida, to be honest with you. A lot of flowers are happening right now, mums, trees, stuff that you plant this time of year. A lot of harvesting going on too, squash, pumpkins. I guess that would be more reefer. But I guess you can go in a vented van depending on the temperature. Looks like Illinois is one of your best states, 753 in, 1782 out. So it's nice to see some 4-digit numbers on this map on this list, because for a while it was all three-digit numbers. Ohio, PA, Oklahoma's kinda taken a dump here lately, I'm not sure why. Usually, I do pretty good with Oklahoma. Of course, Wisconsin's not bad either. So let's switch this to reefer. Alright, so reefer volumes are obviously lower. California, 1781 in, 800 coming out, so that's not great. So, sorry about that. Um, Iowa looks pretty good for reefer. Idaho looks really good. So then I imagine that's probably potatoes. I know potatoes come out of Wisconsin too. Illinois looks good. A lot of processed meat comes out of Chicagoland. Thing with processed meat, you got to be careful. Is usually you might have some long load times. New York looks pretty even. That looks good. North Carolina, not so much. Look at North Dakota, 3 in, 35 out. So that's a good load ratio, but that's a low volume. So I suggest not taking a reefer into North Dakota unless you know you're getting a backhaul out. Pennsylvania looks good. Texas is kind of crappy. So, and then let's switch this to flatbed. Alabama, Alabama, Georgia, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, not so much. Louisiana. So basically southeast Mississippi. So, anyways, pretty much coincides with what 123 says when it comes to the states to be in, the states not to be in, the states that you'll struggle a little bit. I highly suggest doing a situation where putting yourself in a situation where you're not having to make like 30 phone calls. I know that one of the downsides of working the spot market is when your load cancels at the last minute and now you're stuck in a situation that might be difficult to get out of. And I'll give you an example. So I try not to set myself up where I'm emptying out on Friday at 5 p.m. because let's say I do that. I book a load that delivers it Friday at 5 p.m. I know it's going to take an hour to unload, and the reload I had come out of there Friday night, late Friday afternoon, is canceled. Well, by that time, most of the loads are booked. So now you're looking for Saturday or Sunday, and you find yourself not being able to find anything. And the last few times I've been in that situation, not by my fault, is it's been that the broker's just been relentless. Doesn't matter how good of a negotiator you are, they are not budging. They know you're desperate to move, and you start losing loads over 50, 40, 20 $20, and you just and that's how rates come down. It's a manipulation at times. A load you might be doing for 1,500, now it's 1,480, then it's 1,460, now it's 1,410, and you hold your line and you lose that load to someone that takes it for 1,410 instead of 1,450. And next thing you know, you're sitting, and now you're struggling, and now you're really getting the crap on the low boards that no one else wanted. So these are the things you got to keep in mind whenever you're booking your own freight, and that's where a dispatch service, depending on the right one, like like Rig Runner, can be an advantage. We can do that for you. But anyways, I hope you have a profitable day today, and I hope your week is going well. And if you don't mind, hit the thumbs up on this video, and look for a live feed hopefully tomorrow morning. And like I said, it's Thursday, September 22nd, first day of autumn equinox. That means it's the white stuff, the 4-letter word, snow, is right around the corner. So with that being said, if you like the 123 low board, if you like what I display here, this is only one of a gazillion tools that this low board has. 48065 is my code, and gives you all the tools that I haven't even tapped into. For $35 a month, you get the first 30 days free. Check it out. So with that being said, thanks for watching, and peace.